In this video, I'm going to show you how to calibrate the throttle position sensor on a first generation SV650, and I believe it's also identical on a MK2 Suzuki Bandit. This has been throwing me through a loop for quite literally years, and what I'm actually doing with this video is invoking Cunningham's law, which states that the quickest way to get an answer to a question is to post the wrong answer on the internet. So I'm going to post my answer. If it's wrong, I expect somebody corrects me. This is the throttle position sensor. What's been throwing me through a loop is, one, the reading, and two, how to adjust it. If you see, these holes that the bolts are going to go through, they're oblong. So when we have it inside of the carburetor, we're actually able to move this a little bit. It will only fit in one way, this notch, and this has 90 degrees of travel here. So I'm going to get that on. I was doing it upside down. Okay. So now that's there. So where my source of confusion has come from is this statement, is that the fully closed resistance equals some value. You'll see in a second what I'm talking about, maybe why I was confused, and maybe it's just me. But we're going to be measuring the resistance between this pin and this pin. This will be a stationary reading. This is what they're calling the fully closed resistance from step 4. That's what makes sense to me now. And we're also going to be measuring the voltage reading between this pin and this pin when it is at wide open throttle. So it'll tell it when it is at fully open. So what I need to do is get some alligator clips on the bottom, and then the first reading we're going to be doing is this one here up top. We're going to be measuring for the fully closed. Okay, I've got it through. Now hopefully you can see this. I'm reading 5.01 kilo ohms, and when I adjust the throttle valves all the way open, the reading doesn't change. So that is going to be my stationary reading. So what I then have to do is figure out 78% of that is where I want my next reading to be when I'm at fully open throttle. Alright, I've switched the pins that I'm reading on. Now I'm doing the second reading here, so the right pin and the bottom pin. I've also put the two mounting bolts in, but I've left them loose. So at our fully closed, we're at 0.966 kilo ohms. When I open the throttle valve, it'll start changing. I'm going to hold it fully open, and I'm reading 4.25 now. So when I go back to fully closed, I've got my 0.980, 0.979, fully open. 4.26. What I want is 78% of that 5.01, which is going to be 3.9 kilo ohms. This was just throwing me through a loop, this fully closed resistance equal to 5 kilo ohms, because I thought it was talking about this measurement here. Whatever. I think this is going to be correct. So the way we're going to adjust this is actually moving this throttle position sensor, because it's loose in here and it's on those oblong things. So if I make a big swing, I change it like that, we're going to see this is going to read lower. So now my resting is 678. If I go to the top, 3.97, much closer to where I want to be. I'm actually at what looks like the edge, though, of where I can even adjust to. And if I position it a little bit different, like that, my fully open is 4.14, which is too high. So I need to adjust this so that my fully open reads 3.9 when I've got these tightened down. So on mine, it seems like all the way at the edge of adjustment is where I can get to my 3.9. The lowest I can get, right there, right on 3.9. So I need to lock those two screws, bolts down, and get my wide open throttle at 3.9, and then I'll verify that I've still got the same resistance, that same 5 or 5.01 on this first measurement, and then I will be at 78% when I'm at wide open throttle on this second reading. There we are, 5. As far as I know, that's how you do it. I'll go look at the Bandit in a second, because you can actually check it on the bike real easy. So here we are on the Bandit. So I'm measuring that static reading, and what I'm reading is different than the SV. I've got 5.27 on here, so if I adjust the throttle, shouldn't move at all. This is that first reading. I'm having a hard time keeping these alligator clips from touching each other, but right now that's working. So I'm going to need to get 78% of the 5.27, which is 4.11, when I am at wide open throttle on that second reading. So what's crazy is the absolute lowest I can get on wide open throttle here. It's like 4.16. Right there, 4.18. And then if I go the other way, 4.56. I need 4.11 apparently. That's as far as I can go. I guess I'm setting it to 4.19. 4.18. That is at the end of my adjustment. That seems weird.